Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. So for today I want to share with you all my top 10 palettes that I recommend for winter time. So if you want to hear all the palettes that I'm about to recommend, then please stick around for today's video and make sure you are subscribed before leaving today. First, I have to start off with the one that is the most just winter mix that I have. This is the Whistler Lodge palette from Nomad Cosmetics. This one has been discontinued, but if you have this in your collection, pull it out because hello, she's cold, she's blue, and I think it's such a beautiful palette and the quality is still so lovely and nice. This video today, it's not my intention to make you feel the need to go out and buy palettes. It's just a fun palette video where we can chit chat, hang out with one another, and we can just share ideas, bounce off each other, things like that, and shop your stash. Don't feel the need or pressure to buy any of these palettes, and honestly some of them are discontinued, but I can't help it. I just wanted to shop my stash and chat with y'all. So let's start off with the number 2. This is the Smokey Glam palette from Bella Beaute Bar. When I see this palette, it just makes me think that you have been outside for like 2 hours and it's freezing and snowy and your cheeks are just pink and you're cold. Because honestly, yes, can be smoky and gray and cool tone, but also a lot of I would say a lot of the looks that I give this palette tend to be very pink leaning or purpley, but I don't know, there's just a pink cold aspect to the shimmers that I get and that translate on my skin tone. So I wanted to shout this one out in case you have it, pull it out and use it, especially the shade Imagine. It's just so pretty, so I definitely had to share this palette. It just made me think of like you being cold. Number 3, this one is from Fantasy Cosmetica. This is the Fighter palette. This is a neutral palette with a blue winter twist because of some of these gray blues in here. This is probably going to be the one that I reach for the most. One of them, because there's a few that I really do enjoy and use a lot. But this one, you can get a neutral winter look so easy and effortless. So this is one that I feel comfortable. I got some neutrals and I got some blue pops in here. This is a perfect winter palette because, for example, like Whistler Lodge is a little bold, pop in a little bit out of my comfort zone. So I reach for this not all that often, but it's perfect for winter. But this one is a palette that I would get so much use out of, so I definitely wanted to mention it, and it just like, I don't know, it's got my heart. What can I say? Next, let's talk about Glaminatrix. This is the Sugar and Spice palette. I have, I believe, 2 to mention from them. This one right here, it's winter with a twist. I like how there's grounding neutrals in here, but you've got these beautiful blue tones right here in a mint pop, but these up here are so shimmery and sparkly and yummy. It just makes you look like, you know, you got little ice on you. What can I say? I don't know. There's just something about this palette that makes me think of winter and being cold. Speaking of being cold, I literally saw this palette and I was like, that is perfect. If you have it, pull it out. This is the Bridgerton Pat McGrath. This is the first time they did a collaboration. What is this called? Diamond of the First Water. This is a cold winter palette. The pinks with this blue icy shimmer, are you kidding me? I have a very special place in my heart for this palette for a few different reasons. I wore this during like my gender reveal, things like that, but whenever I see this palette, even whenever I would wear it during the summer, it still made me think of winter. I know some people think of spring, but I'm telling you, for me, I picture a winter cold palette, so definitely had to mention this one. Next, this one is from Adept Cosmetics. This is the Arrow palette. I'm so happy, or Arrow inspired. They brought this one back. I don't know if it's still available now, so I'm very thankful that they brought it back. But there's so many blue shades in here, and I'm telling you, with like this shade over here and then this shimmery icy shade, it just makes me think of winter. Yes, it could be spring with the greens, but there's a lot of blue in these shimmers, so this is one where I was like, you know what? It's winter with a twist. It's a fun winter palette for sure. I didn't want to just pick like neutral palettes like with blues, you know? I don't know. I just wanted to kind of branch out a little bit out of my boring heart. So this one is the Rose Quartz palette from Huda Beauty, and I know this is like kind of a stretch, but there's just something, this palette, kind of like the Smoky Glam, it just makes me think of being cold, but there are some tones in here that can kind of give like a winter mix effect with those blue silvers in here. So I love this palette. Every time I create a look with it, I love it, and a lot of times I gravitate more towards this palette during the winter months. I have noticed notice, but there's just something about it. And also, I did get this during Black Friday, so excuse me, maybe I associate it with winter. I don't know, but there's just something about this. Pull it out and tell me you can all get like a cold winter look with it. Next, this one, I don't know. I had to mention it, but this is the Cozy Cabin palette from Simply Posh Cosmetics. And yes, this side is definitely winter themed. Obviously the packaging, I mean, hello, but for me, this is very colorful, and like these shades are so red on me. They're not very neutral. Some are super bold and out of my comfort zone, but towards this half, it's kind of what I'm referring to, and obviously the packaging, so it just gives me winter feels whenever I see this palette, you know, so just cabin vibes, obviously, but just a winter mix, and I think it's so beautiful. Obviously, let me know if you're going to pick up the winter, Winter Wonderland from Cosmic Brushes, because that palette looks divine. The last two that I want to mention, I saved a neutral one for last because you know I had to have one neutral palette with a blue pop. But this one is the Into the Night palette. This is from Glaminatrix. I think this one's also been discontinued. I didn't want that to hold me back because, you know, this is my collection, so I can't just ignore all the amazing palettes that have been discontinued. I think they do sell some of the singles, things like that, but the shade On the Rocks makes me think of winter, like a wearable cold shade. It's blue, there's pink and silver, and this silver right here, it's incredible. So yes, it's very spring-esque, and it can be date night because it's super grungy, but I don't know, but like this blue purple right here, it just makes me think of winter. Obviously the packaging as well, but this palette, it's very special and unique. I love the color story. So this is kind of like a winter stretch, but I'm telling you, it kind of is. You might have to reach into another palette, but just like this matte, and one of these more winter tones would definitely give you a seasonal look. But I had to mention that one, especially because the shade On the Rocks, but let me make sure, what is it called? Yeah, On the Rocks. It is lovely. The last palette that I wanted to mention, this is from What's Up Beauty. This is the Monsoon Desert palette, and this is a neutral lover's dream right here, but it has that fun blue in here. It has a gorgeous just champagne with your ground staple mattes in here. So this is a neutral lover's palette with a blue pop that if you have it in your collection, maybe you didn't think about it, but you could pull this out and have a winter palette if you just pop the blue maybe on the lower lash line, or you can fully go for it and put it all over your lid. But I really wanted to include it because I saw the pop of blue. I keep this one in my makeup bag. I use it all the time, but I was looking at it the other day and I was like, oh my goodness, I literally have a winter palette right here and didn't even know it. I love the theming, the storm, the lightning. I hope we see more palettes themed with this aspect next year. I would be so down for it. But anyways, guys, those are all of my winter themed palettes that I wanted to share with you all. Let me know down below some palettes that you have in your collection that you pull out during the cold season. But that's going to do it for today's video. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're doing well. I hope that you are healthy, happy, and safe. Stay beautiful. Bye, guys.